Back in 2014, an event series titled Spiderverse was released by Marvel Comics. The series featured several spider-themed characters crossing over from different universes. After the event was over, several characters from the Spiderverse event, including Silk, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Woman, and the Web Warriors, received their own standalone series due to the popularity that they received during the event, as well as the role that they played in it. Spiderverse is seen by many as a turning point in the Spider-Man universe, as it not only added several new spider-themed characters and stories, but it also tied in heavily to the main Spider-Man series running at the time. Now Marvel has announced their newest miniseries event, Venomverse. Venomverse serves as the spiritual successor to Spiderverse, and similarly, Venomverse will involve several Venom versions of heroes coming together across the Marvel multiverse. But is Venomverse just a cheap way to reuse what made Spider-Verse enjoyable? Or is it a new and compelling story that will enhance the Spider-Man mythos and expand on the role of the Venom symbiote? Let's take a look at the first issue in this event series and see what it has to offer. The issue opens up with a young Laura, better known as X-23. She is narrating about the previous 4 times that she has tried to escape. When the elevator door opens, Laura jumps out and starts slashing at the guards that are there. Once she takes care of all the guards in that room, an alarm goes off, and gas starts to be dispersed. Laura runs to a nearby room, trying to escape the gas. While she is hiding, her claw accidentally cuts open the glass, where they are holding one of their latest experiments, the Venom symbiote. The symbiote inside escapes through the small crack that Laura made, and it bonds with her, much to the fear of the guards that came in after her. The comic then jumps ahead 2 months, where a group of kids are hiding in an abandoned bank. The kids discuss staying there, however they are unsure because the place is supposedly haunted. Laura is then seen arguing with the symbiote that wants to eat the kids that are there. The kids are startled by Laura's sudden appearance there, as well as the fact that she's arguing with herself. They then introduce themselves while Laura keeps arguing with the symbiote about what to do with the kids, and Laura tells them they should leave before things get worse. Once they leave, however, the group is met by those that they were initially running away from. One of the kids, Bobby, gets cornered and tries to talk his way out of the situation. Luckily for him though, Laura shows up and she stabs the thug that was in front of him. Laura goes on to fight the second thug there, but before she can kill him, Bobby stops her. He also tells Laura that since she just saved him, that means she's not a monster like he had initially said. Laura meets up with the rest of them and quickly befriends them, having enjoyed having company for once. Weeks later, the group of kids, along with Laura, are hanging out together. They then enact a plan that they formed. Bobby punches Laura and she starts bleeding, so she goes up to an ice cream vendor for help. While he's tending to Laura, the rest of them steal a box of ice cream. As they are running away though, Keaton gets grabbed by one of the people looking for Laura. It is then shown that the symbiote has been spread from Laura to the other kids that she hangs out with. While Laura is with the ice cream vendor, the symbiote senses that they are after her. A group of soldiers arrive in front of the kids, but Laura arrives, breaking through the window just in time. They run off into the abandoned bank where they had been staying, with each of the kids showing that they have some of the symbiote's power. At first it looks as though the kids are winning, however there are much more soldiers than they had initially expected. They run and lock themselves inside the bank vault in order to try and hide from the soldiers. Laura appears weakened, and the symbiote then starts taking the power Laura gave the other kids back, saying it needs to be complete again. A strange portal suddenly appears inside of Laura, and then she mysteriously vanishes, leaving the other kids alone. Laura reappears, angry that she was stolen away from her friends. However, a symbiote-infected Captain America tells her playtime is over, and they need a war to win, ending the issue. When Venomverse was first announced, I was honestly one of the many skeptics about this. The first issue has, however, gotten me much more interested in it than I initially was. But it just wasn't enough to entirely sell me on the concept. See, what made Spiderverse so compelling was the interesting and unique take it has on each character. The reason Spider-Gwen and Silk received their own standalone series was because they were characters that felt like individuals, and they felt like they had a real story to tell. With this issue, however, it's basically just rushing through X-23's origin story, and it has an even less interesting version of the NYX series, which already was kind of mediocre. There's really nothing that distinguishes this version of Laura from the main version of Laura, unlike how Silk and Spider-Gwen were very distinguishable as their own character from everyone else in the Spider mythos. Now, obviously, not every single character in this event series is made with the intention or the goal of eventually having their own series, but if this is the quality of Venom-related characters that we're going to get, I just can't say I have high hopes for this. The issue was enjoyable to read, don't get me wrong, and seeing X-23 with the Venom symbiote was really nice and really cool. But the story read as though it could have happened without the Venom symbiote at all. Venom didn't even play that big of a role. Now, seeing as how this is only the edge of Venomverse, where they are explaining how all of the characters got involved in the Venomverse storyline, I can give it a pass for not involving the symbiote that much. But I sincerely hope when the actual Venomverse story begins, that the symbiote has a much larger role to play, because it was basically non-existent here. Now, another complaint that I have, though this is really a minor one, is the fact that Laura in this book looks remarkably similar to her appearance in Logan. I don't know if it's just me, but I never really liked it when they redesign a comic book character to look similar to how they look in the films. It just feels off. Now, they couldn't really do it with the main version of Laura since she's a teenager there, so instead they used this Venomverse story to introduce a child version of Laura to match the version that those who see Logan would be familiar with. As I said, this is a very minor complaint and it's more of a personal problem, but I just never really liked redesigns based on films. Overall, I have to say, Edge of Venomverse #1 was a nice and standard introduction issue. It wasn't really the best way to start off Venomverse, because like I said, it's essentially just the bare basics of Laura's backstory, along with a very watered down and less interesting version of NYX. The Venom symbiote had little to no impact in the overall story. Still though, it was enjoyable to read, and the ending, I have to say, got me way more interested in Venomverse than I ever was initially. And at the end of the day, isn't that what a first issue is supposed to do? Get you invested in the story, especially for events like this. So, have you read Edge of Venomverse #1? If so, what did you think of it? Are you excited for Venomverse, or do you think it's just a cheap way to build off of the success Spiderverse had all those years ago? Let me know all this and more in the comment section down below. Regardless of all this, I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in my next video.